You see, Shar and Katie are hardcore JC shippers. So if you
As
say
one should be,
anything,
I suppose.
if you say anything
You know?
C7, they're gonna shoot daggers at you so hard.
The side eye.
I
Yes,
mean,
you will
but all
receive it.
right, which one is more regrettable, C7 or Worf Troi?
Oh,
Ooh.
I would have said
That's tough.
Worf Troi until this year because he did get that scene when he rescues them, and I was like, "This would make it made it worth it. It made it worth it." I'm
You're
not even mad
absolutely
anymore.
right.
That's up
This
for
dude-
a funniest moment.
Joshua is psychic.
I know.
Joshua is psychic because look at this article from ScreenRant.com. Star Trek TNG's Marinia Sirtis is glad Troi didn't marry Worf. Quote, I would have killed myself.
So dramatic.
So hear her saying
But
it too.
didn't she also say that kissing Michael Dorn was like kissing her brother and that's why she hated it?
No, I suspect there could be more to that friendship. But that's just me.
What are you trying to say here, Dr. Anne Marie
She goes
Siegel?
and stays at our house in Greece.
Hollywood shipper.
I don't know. Have you seen them together in real life?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're buddies. they're buddies.
They're not chilling like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anne Marie. How dare you insinuate?
Well, and his wife
There were a
would
few
get in the
months
way.
So I'm going to put a poll about this because I need to know. It sounds like you guys think, Joshua certainly does, that the Troi Worf thing was a mistake or not the best angle. What do you guys think?
You know, honestly, it really did work for me because she started having like a really intimate role with Worf and Alexander and got to really know Worf and like sort of brought out a side of him that nobody else really tapped into. That's obviously I'm a Worf Troi person or Troi Riker person, but it made more sense. Like Chakotay 7, there was like a teeny little spark when they were stuck on that planet and like Chakotay broke his leg or something. And like
they get that idea.
But that was before that was like before they even wrote C7 to start. And I was like, it's even stupider because if you were actually going to start that for real, you would have started it in that episode. Like,
well,
where they're like stuck in that atmosphere.
Having written about my particular disdain for that choice in Voyager, just recently, I don't know if it was in the Mark Altman Edward Gross books or maybe, I don't know, is in one of the Voyager books, where both Robert Beltran and Jerry Ryan said that after the holodeck simulation where she kind of fell for fake Chakotay, they had that thing and they had apparently asked the producers, like, should we play this as romance? And they're like, no, this is not that. And then like 2-3 episodes later, there it is.
Guess what?
They're having picnics in cargo bays, and
because Robert Beltran was like, what's his name? The guy
to Brandon Braga.
The Brandon Braga thing.
Braga.
Yeah, he said, I bet you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Brandon Braga and Jerry Ryan were dating for a little while, and Robert Beltran said, "Oh, I bet you won't let me kiss Jerry or have a relationship with 7 of 9. He says that's your girl."
Yeah,
it all happened
from.
It
happened
a
on a dare. Yes.
I'll do it, bro. I'm not scared.
That makes it even worse.
I'll say that sounds like a great convention story.
That's probably where I heard it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
What that means in terms of reality, I don't know. But
it's also like more offensive because like they only had a few episodes left and they're gonna like do something on a dare to like mess with our storylines.
Well, and here's the other thing: is in the context of the show, Chakotay pursuing 7 is kind of gross because mentally and emotionally, she's still somewhat at an adolescent level, not a full adult level, because she's been Borg so long. She never had, typical growing up moments.
Oh, and I've got a hot take too to build off that, because think about it. Janeway was like 7's like kind of her surrogate mom, right? Yeah. And who does Janeway love more than anyone?
Ooh.
Chakotay.
Right.
So of course Seven, in that sort of emotional Arrested Development, she kind of is like, oh, mom likes him, I like him. And so that was why I was
God.
like,
Freud would have
Didn't
a
she
heyday
also-
with this.
Didn't she
This is
also want to
amazing.
hump Harry Kim first?
No,
Harry wanted to hump
you
her.
have that backwards.
yeah,
No,
who didn't,
didn't she
though?
say,
I mean,
take off your
he was-
clothes, Ensign? That's all I remember from that
Yeah.
scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched this not that long ago. What happened is she figured out that Harry had a massive crush on her because he was acting completely awful and awkward toward her, like he's some teenage kid. Never mind the fact that he had a fiance at the start of the show. It's not like the guy is a complete dummy to romance. But anyway, so she says, "Oh, you want to copulate? Let's go. Take off your clothes."
Yeah.
So I do remember that now.
That's how I get rid of got unwanted attention.
I mean, you got to appreciate being direct sometimes.
Yeah, but then
Not
back
play
to
games.
Chakotay and Seven. So that was all done on a dare, but who knew that they would have such incredible on-screen chemistry, right?
I mean,
Oh,
it's true.
yeah, they
It's
definitely
true.
did.
No,
I mean, I know you
they
can't catch
did
lightning in a
not.
bottle, but
They did not. They had zero chemistry
It was so bad.
whatsoever.
My glasses
It
were
was
getting
like
steamy just watching
cold
them
fish
together.
meet cold fish. And
No, it was like dunking a saltine cracker in Sprite or something. Like it was unholy. It should never happen again. Like,
It was
know who thought it up.
wrong.
it was wrong.
oh no!
You guys just
Yeah, I mean, the
don't
whole
get it.
Janeway Chakotay thing happened because of their chemistry.
Yeah, they definitely had more chemistry, but I can understand why they never went that far because he was her first officer.
Sure. Yeah, there were
See-
plenty of logistical reasons to not go
Right.
there, but
Yeah.
was the connection there?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's like they had to try
Absolutely.
to not have it.
Yeah.
well, he spoke on it in
no.
Shattered, right? When they
Yeah.
he
Yep.
was with the pre Badlands Janeway, and she was
Mhm.
like, "Hey,
Yep.
I'm getting a vibe here," and
Yeah.
he was like, "No, we
Yep.
did not. We decided to
He's
be-
like,
Never
no.
go that far.
Yeah, we didn't
We
go
just-
that far.
But now with
we just decided to
Prodigy,
have
anything's
long
possible.
looks." Oh,
This
that's
is true.
And I love
We can
some
get
the
more of those
people-
like long looks.
I love like some people's takes who are like, you know what? Maybe they should have investigated it because like they are on a ship. It's going for forever, and I feel like sometimes like in like post the current feminist wave or like the feminist wave like in the 90s, what's not like then it becomes like women aren't allowed to date in the workplace, and it's sort of like a double
Mhm.
standard. And I think what would have been really truly woke or like next level is if they had investigated like Janeway getting to like
Oh,
see how
Anne-Marie,
she feels.
many women in the 90s wanted this relationship to happen for
Exactly.
that very reason, to
Mhm.
show that she could have a personal life and a professional life and see her
Yeah.
balancing the two, because that's exactly what plenty of working women in the 90s were doing,
Exactly. And it would
raising their
still come up,
families
like,
and juggling
Yes.
everything else.
it was still coming up
and-
like in med school, and people there'd be like married couples, and people would always like if you had a boyfriend who was also a med student or like a resident, people would always make comments like you shouldn't be dating in the workplace, but like no one ever says that to the men who were like dating other people.
Yeah.
So I just feel like Voyager had a really good opportunity to investigate that, but I mean
Mhm.
it's
They did,
Yeah.
and at the
So
same
much they
time,
can do.
it's probably good that they didn't,
Yes.
just because I don't know if it would have been handled properly
yes,
back then
when it's
Yeah.
people
because of
doing weird dares.
attitudes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kate Mulgrew agreed with that stance of no, let's not,
yes.
because
Yeah.
it will ruin my character.
Yeah,
and it
I-
further strengthens the like Kirk parallel to Janeway, because I feel like Janeway is the most Kirk
Yes, I
captain
agree.
of all of them.
Oh yeah.
And Kirk,
Agreed.
for all his dalliances, he did not, despite some long looks at yeomans, I don't think he ever actually hooked up with the crew member. Now Picard, on the other hand,
Maybe at a
making
Christmas
eyes at
party.
Bev
He tried.
all the time.
Yeah, the Christmas party.
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah,
can
then
go
there's all
well.
that.
But the thing that with Janeway and Chakotay, I was never opposed to her having a relationship, or having workplace relationships, but he was her direct subordinate, and and then you look at a couple like Jadzia and Worf, where there is a workplace romance there, and that worked because they weren't, They
Right, no chain of
superior
command.
officer. Exactly. So that was the only thing with me that didn't work well with Janeway and Chakotay at the time. That doesn't mean later down the line they couldn't, but
Here's
There's
what I'm
that
going to add to this, and I
Jane-
don't know much about anything, is that I try to look at it from the person's point of view. Let's say you are Janeway and you are the captain of a ship, okay? Those are your options. You know,
of course.
Or you have a weird hollow boyfriend.
If you like Chakotay and he likes you, like your options are pretty limited. For all you know, you might be there for the rest of your life. It might be slightly inappropriate, but at the same time, you're like, well, I'm kind of stuck. I can't clock out and then date him on the off hours. So, she's in a really tough position to where, I almost feel like anything goes. Like you'd rather it wouldn't go in that direction, but she's in a really
also, it is a close power dynamic,
situation.
which is better in some ways than the other. Like when Picard dates Nella Darren, and then suddenly there's a bunch of problems with the chain of command and all the people between who give her directions. It's just, there's no perfect. That's why it's complicated.
Right.
And then just to add to that, with 7 of 9, this is going to be even edgier. Is when we say, okay, that looks a little weird because she kind of, to us, we look at her and she kind of acts like an adolescent. She kind of acts like she doesn't know. She's still kind of developing how to be a human. Okay. But then I look at it from her point of view. And if she wants to date or copulate, she can't date an adolescent boy. She can't date somebody on that level. She has to date an adult, even if it's Harry Kim.
Well, it would have been wrong. Remember, there was Icheb on the ship. That would have been wrong. He's underage.
Yeah.
But at the same thing, emotionally, that's where she is at. And that's why it's also wrong for Chakotay to say, yeah, I'll tap that.
But then what's her option is what I'm saying.
Well,
if she wants to
Chakotay would
copulate,
talk
she
to
has
her
no
like
options
that.
then.
I think she does have an option, and she could do what you do with our YouTube comments and just have a poll, run it during Neelix's program, have it pop up on every screen, and be like, "Do you guys think that I should be allowed to do this? Just want to feel the vibes, get a taste of what's going on."
Speaking of which, we have a poll in the live chat. You're right, Katie. Which is
great transition.
Did the Troi and Worf relationship work for you? The options are sure or barf. And I'm extremely disappointed in everybody that 75% of you have said barf to Troi and Worf. That's so mean.
That is
that because we're all so
an enlightened audience in the live chat.
Yeah.
I think it is. We had so many seasons of obsession between the two of them.
Oh, I do love them.
It was like going against the grain. If you ever pet a cat backwards, that's what it feels like that relationship was like. Just
well, it's that Riker and Troi are meant for each other. And so for them, whenever they go off and see other people, it feels wrong. No, guys, you're wasting your time. Stop that. And the fact that it's Worf, somebody we're very familiar with, it doubles that down.
He gets Barkley in his quarters. He pulls out the voodoo dolls. He's like, "Okay, no, you two stay together." Ties them together.
Yeah,
see him being the puppet master.
I do like that their relationship with regard to Alexander and what she did for Worf with how he approached Alexander, but I don't think it needed to go beyond that.
Yeah, it didn't have to.
At the same time, Riker wasn't making any moves then. So
Riker
wait
wasn't
around
making,
for forever.
Yeah, Riker was a yo-yo. He was, meaning that 1 minute he was hot and heavy for her, and the next minute he was hot and heavy for someone else. It was yo-yo.
Carry on again.
There's that weird Thomas Riker stuff. It's just a lot to process.
Yeah,
the Thomas Riker one was real fun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did they really miss out on a chance to bring that back? I feel like having Thomas for one, no, we needed more.
Oh, that was
I heard they couldn't get the actor.
So
oh my god.
The one good thing about all the like Troi boyfriends was it did give you that scene where Riker could teach a generation of 90s kids how not to be like toxic, not to have toxic masculinity, where he'd always be like, I just want her to be happy. And like, especially if they were a dick, he'd be like, you better watch out. And he's like, oh, there was one scene, I don't know if I'm remembering this right, but I think he was like, are you going to come after me? And he's like, no, she will. It was,
It's
again,
very sweet.
second wave guys, they didn't always write the women perfect in the second wave days, but they did nail Riker and not being jealous of Troi.
Riker nailed things
like
too.
sometimes he would go help
He sure did.
if the person was like a bad guy, like the guy who like drained her age. And he's never like, I told you so, or like never says anything unkind. He's just like happy she's like doing well. Love him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a look of longing before the ad break. Other than that,
oh my gosh, there were so many looks of longing.
Yeah.
Oh, especially in the first few seasons, it was like half the time they were interacting was just.
Well, when they were she was talking about that fever where it enhances the libido of the baby.
Oh yeah.
The look on Riker's
quadruples
face.
it.
Yes, when Troi says that, he's
tell
like,
me more.
"You never told me that." Wait a minute. Hey,
their background acting is just like the best thing in the world. It's like none of that was on the page, and it just makes the show so much better.
Well, wasn't it in the one of the Picard little featurettes they put out when that was coming out? Didn't they say that they always played it like they were madly
like
in love,
as it got longer,
even against the wishes
the
of
show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they were always giving it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
that is
my head canon is that they were having telepathic Imzadi talks. We just didn't.
Yes,
that is the secret
Hell
that
yeah.
a lot of actors do is they'll come up with their own motivation to add depth to a scene, even if the writers aren't doing it. And a lot of times the writers will see that or pick up on that and then start to write it in that direction, like what Rene Aubergenois did inadvertently, it seems, with Kira, when the way he would look at her, they're like, look, and they're looking at the dailies, they're like, look, Odo loves Kira. So they wrote it based on how he looked at her. Ethan Phillips has said, who plays Neelix, that his secret was that he always played it like he was in love with Janeway. Never told her, never told anybody. But then when you go back and
I've never heard
watch
that.
his
That just blew my mind.
it
makes so much sense.
It kind of works. It kind of
wow.
That's going to come out in the upcoming Voyager documentary. Everybody, it's been shown on some of our clips that we've shown ahead of time. So it's not. I'm not breaking any secrets here, but when he says that, it makes you think that kind of works. You could see the way he's just always like, yes, Captain. Oh,
yes,
right away.
Right, I'll do anything for you, Captain. Here's some coffee.
Find your Victorian teacups. I'll go check the storage box.
Well, I just wrote about how I loved that Neelix's story had an ending, because Star Trek has so few endings because it's ongoing and
a happy one.
Yeah, and he's keeping Starfleet in the dark. Like it is really great. But now with that in mind, I'm thinking of that like last scene where Janeway's like, I need someone to be my Starfleet ambassador, and adds so much. I'm gonna go rewatch the episode again.
Oh,
Dad. Really I can't wait for that Voyager documentary.
Same.
We were just talking about it today, in fact. More on that.
Oh, by the member of the 455 team?
Yeah. So there's a lot of secrets there that actors do, which I think is really cool. I feel like that's the big one, though. I remember doing a theater scene when I was first starting out with somebody, and our teacher comes up to us when we're practicing and we're just kind of running through it. And he goes, "Hey guys, play it like you're in love with her. Go." And it's like something clicks, and suddenly this boring ass scene totally works. And it totally, suddenly all the lines make way more sense. You get it. It's not just an idiot. It's an idiot who likes a girl. That's very different, But,
makes him even more of an idiot.
It does. But it works. Now you know, oh, that's why he's an idiot. And also his intelligence.
Motivation.